Hello comrades, it's Comrade Reese here, and today I'm going to explain to you all why us communists do believe in democracy. Now, for anyone who isn't too good with politics, the capitalist class is a tiny minority of rich parasites who rule over everything, and the capitalist class are the ones who exploit the working class, which is the majority of the population, for their own benefit. The expression dictatorship of the proletariat sounds entirely offensive to most people who have been brought up and educated in capitalist societies. In Britain, our schooling leaves us with a most narrow view regarding the questions of democracy and dictatorship. We are taught that democracy and dictatorship are mutually exclusive, and that there is a straight line from most democratic to most dictatorial. This education deliberately disregards the fact that British democracy is, in reality, democracy for the capitalist class alone. Yes, there are multiple parties, but these all represent the capitalist class. The policies of Labour, Conservative, UKIP, Plaid Cymru, SNP, Green and Liberal Democrat are the policies of business, of private property, of exploitation and of imperialism. The working class does not have the slightest say in how the country is run. In fact, the whole state is geared towards the armed suppression of the working class. Granted, this is difficult to appreciate in times of relative social peace, but it's all too clear during times of unrest, such as the role played by the police and the army during the general strike of 1926 or the miners' strike of 1984. Therefore, British democracy can be considered as what Karl Marx was never tired of calling the dictatorship of the bourgeoisie. It is democratic to the extent that there is democracy for the capitalist class, via parliament and various extra-parliamentary bodies, and it therefore differs from the total bourgeois dictatorship of Nazi Germany. However, it is dictatorial in the sense that the bourgeoisie maintains its exploitive relationship with the proletariat through means of repression. The dictatorship of the proletariat, on the other hand, means democracy for the working class, combined with the violent suppression of the overthrown capitalist class. For example, the Soviet Union of Lenin and Stalin was democratic for the working class, whose interests were represented by the various bodies of the state, and who had an exceptionally high level of involvement in the running of the country, via Soviets, trade unions, factory committees, farm committees, school committees, neighbourhood committees, etc. However, it was dictatorial towards the former ruling class, the capitalists, who never gave up on their bid to restore the old, backward, exploitive, brutal order. The Soviet Union had to defend itself in the War of Intervention, which happened between 1918 and 1921, and it was waged by all of the imperialist countries together in league with the Tsarist White Guard. Along with the support of the Mensheviks, the Soviet Union then faced a number of plots, sabotage and assassination attempts, again the work of a combination of internal and external reactionary elements, and the Soviet Union then had to protect itself from the onslaught of Nazi imperialism in World War II. Similarly, modern Cuba is a workers' democracy. Ordinary Cubans have a level of democratic participation that we in Britain can only dream of. However, the Cuban state is set up to firmly suppress any person or any organisation attempting to send Cuba back to the old capitalist/neo-colonial order that the people of Cuba were being oppressed by under the US-sponsored butcher Batista. Cuban socialism is firmly established, but the Miami Mafia and the US state are still actively trying to subvert the revolution. This could definitely explain the dozens of assassination attempts on Fidel Castro when he was the leader of Cuba. Therefore, the Cuban state cannot afford to rest. Indeed, with the growth of tourism, which was introduced to aid economic recovery, the Cuban state has to be more vigilant than ever. So, comrades, to summarise, most people will not hesitate to tell you that socialism is an oppressive ideology. But don't be fooled by them at all, because what we mean by the term dictatorship of the proletariat is democracy for the working class, the majority of the population, or the 99% if you like. However, the only ones who get oppressed are the bourgeoisie, the capitalists, or the 1% if you like, and that is very justifiable, because the reason why us communists talk about serving the majority of the population is because whether you're a communist or not, We all know for a fact that you can't please everyone. Whatever decision you make, somebody's going to get pissed off. Also, in my view, a tiny minority of rich parasites oppressing the majority of the population to serve themselves is not democratic at all. However, I will talk a little bit more about the question of the state in another video.